Whoo-wee. Oh, all right. We're talking about Camp Reset with another play designer, Ez Bridgman, who I'm waiting to join. Yeah. We are going to break it down. Hey, what's up? Oh, look at it's Ivy. Hello, Ivy. Yeah, we're going to be talking about Camp Reset with Ez in a moment. Because I need to process this weekend. I kind of like talked about it, but this is more for me to just remember what actually happened. All right, so I'm bringing them in. How are you doing, Ivy? What's up? While I'm waiting, I might as well say, okay, so I went to this retreat this weekend called Camp Reset, where the whole experimentation, it's been happening for 8 years, the whole experimentation is that it prioritizes rest and play, and the way they do it is there are 3 rules. No work talk, no phones, no names. Those are the 3 rules. Kind of like creates the energy of the space. And then, yeah, you just kind of play. There's no workshops, or there's no like keynote workshops. There's no there's not that much structure. It's really just like an opportunity for people to just play and connect in a way that they otherwise wouldn't as adults, because most of the time when we're connecting as adults in this very ego-driven way of like, this is what I do, this is how much I'm worth, this is who I am. And when you take those away, when you take out no work, no phones, no names, or no real names, like you make up a name, then all of a sudden, what do you talk about? What do you do? So that's what we're going to talk about for just a brief period of time. What's up, Ez? Let's figure out how you can join. Add as moderator. Add as moderator. So Ez, just go ahead and see if you can like join as a moderator, and then we will start. What's up, everyone? Hey, thanks for joining. Here, let me see if I can do. Oh, there we go. Invite. So we're going to be talking about Camp Reset. Oh, there it is. Let's go, Ez.
Hello. Hey, Jeff. How you doing there?
All right, let's process this. Ez.
Let's process. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. So I think I gave the premise earlier, but yes, we both went to Camp Reset this weekend. It's a 4-day event that prioritizes rest and play. The 3 rules are no work talk, no phones, no real names. You arrived on Friday. Tell me what your experience was like as a play facilitator, like as a play person that like puts together events around play and all that.
Right, as play facilitator. Well, basically, so Reset, I experienced it as creating a mini paradise from which we could draw inspiration for the rest of our existences. I.e., if you just imagine 3 or 4 days where everyone is there, any single person you talk to, or the 200 people that are there, were fun, curious, open to exploring. There was water slides, there was like canoes, paddle boards, there were workshops, there was a sauna, there was tennis, there was basketball, there was arts and crafts, there was music happening. It kind of and no cell phones. And the level of connection each day that we sunk into was incredible. Yeah, I wanted to ask you, Jeff, what was one of your highlights
Oh,
from, what was one of
oh
your
man,
highlights
one of my
from, I know, and just for everyone who's watching this, just so you know, Jeff spent the whole of Cap Reset just running around so happy. I don't think I saw you once without a big smile on your face. Literally just, and I used the word like, prancing before, but I was like, just delighting. You were going left and right. And one of the things at Camp Reset is it's not about saying, doing one thing
yeah.
and then staying there just because. You could leave anything at any time, just following your flow, following your vibe. But yes, what was that? What was a highlight for you?
Oh, oh man. So I was writing the highlights to someone today, and it sounded like one of those like weird dreams, that you have for someone. So like here, I'll give you random highlights. One of my highlights was I played a ping pong game that was invented. I think they invented it on the spot where one person hits on one side and four people are on the other, and then they run around. And the whole point is to keep it going, right? So people are using, so it looked like a really fun game, but they didn't have enough paddles. So I found a lid from like a container store or something like that, and I came in with a lid and started using a lid to join in. Like this is the absurdity of it, right? Like the play, and then later on, I think the game happened again, and I think Rye showed up with a stool, so he started hitting the ping pong ball with stool. So whatever flat item you could find, you would hit with, and that was the game invented by grown adults that were acting like children. That's just one example, one small example.
I also love that. It's like, it's ping pong with any object you can find. Like use your head. Use like the trash can lid. Use like your foot. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
At,
Yeah.
I mean, at one point, there was this untalented show where the whole point of it was you were supposed to do something you're not talented at,
And
right?
it was booze. It was like they
They
booed if you
boo
were
if you're
too
good.
good.
If they
It was
boo
like
if you're too good.
boo.
So after the show was over, we a bunch of us, because it was like right near the water, we were like, well, let's just go watch the sunset, or at least some of the sunset. And we walk over there, we're sitting, people are just joking around, kidding around. All of a sudden we all get quiet as we're watching the sunset, and then someone starts booing the sunset. Like this is how weird and strange and weird. And then other people started heckling, and then I got to get into it, so I start heckling the sun as well. And we're just like, I think what was fascinating was like any moment, play was available. Like at all times, it was all game. Like I had this ongoing rock paper scissors battle with Smooth Chef that every time we saw each other, no words were spoken, just it happened like boom, 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 and then we moved on to the next thing. Um, so that is what I found so fascinating is that to find that many playful people that where ego was not, I never really felt ego, or I never really felt that much ego from a lot of people because I was just thinking about this today. Play is very much about justice in the sense of like everyone's on the same page if everyone agrees to the same rules. And I think once you agree to the first three rules, then it kind of creates a safer space for people to connect. What do you think?
Oh yeah, totally. I think that safety was there, and they had it. I think it was. I've been to a lot of events, and this one had a. There was so much intention and design just baked into it, and it was just they had a space if you want to go to be cranky and like share like negative thoughts, ideas, emotions. They had sort of support if you needed someone to talk to. They had a Zen deck if you're just like, don't talk to
Mm-hmm.
me, which was amazing. And I think that is what allows as that sort of foundation. That's what allowed it to be so safe and fun to be able to play with different people because you knew no matter what happened, there was support for you. There was somewhere you could go if you need to be more introverted, and if you wanted to be, partying till 4 in the morning with like amazing DJ sets. That also was there with tons of glitter, tons of glitter, lights, you name it.
Well, you bring up a point that I didn't even think about as much as like it feels so simple, like it feels very easy for the participant to experience. But I didn't realize the amount of work and effort they put in building up. They plan like 6 to 8 months. I mean, probably even longer in advance.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I think their feedback form last year, they took all that feedback and it became like a 60-page report, where they're just like going through how do we make it better. And I was speaking with Momo about this yesterday, where they're not afraid to break it.
Mhm.
They're not because they could just run it the exact same every single time, right? But I think they are constantly, trying to evolve it and trying to not just improve it, but trying to like experiment with it as one would do with play. While I think in a very more capitalistic structure, you just run it over and over again, exactly the same, right? And they're not afraid of like making mistakes and going big in order to create more safety and more vulnerability so people can really connect at a deeper level. That's something I have a massive respect for.
They're playing with the actual design of the event. Like I spoke to someone who was saying who'd been there multiple years, and it's like sometimes it's like choose your own adventure, sometimes it's more social justice, sometimes it's more like camp. It's like they're constantly iterating it. And I think that totally makes a difference, because if it would be capitalistic to be like, we got this formula and let's keep going with it. But I think that what I'm seeing with Camp Reset is it's a need. It's a need in this world for adults to be able to go to a place without their kids, to have a weekend where they can just be and play and rest. I can see it being, and beyond the, any one camp, I think it's an incredible social laboratory that I really recommend everyone try out at least once. I came back from I was driving back, and I could just feel the difference in terms of how I was looking at my cell phone,
Yeah.
feeling that difference of just being aware of like, okay, there's another social reality that's possible. And maybe I'm not in it right now. Maybe I have 4 or 5 meetings today. Maybe I need to like run, get groceries. Maybe I
Yeah.
just just like, but I'm aware. It's kind of like you carry a bit of that DNA in you.
I think what I'm gonna try, which is weird because like I'm addicted to my phone, right? Is like, what if the next time I go, I don't know, some event or conference, or heck, I'm going to England soon. What if I didn't talk about work? What if I didn't lead with, like bringing out my phone, right? What if I did, heck, what if like even for like an hour, 2 hours, I just used the word, I used my name Uche rather than my human name,
Your
Jeff.
human
Right.
name,
Right.
jeez, yeah.
Here was the one part that I found. There were so many fascinating parts, but one part that I found so interesting too is when they mentioned that we are going to get our phones back. Not only did people boo, right, but I either have been the night before and then it continued into the day, and you can see I'm kind of like losing my voice already. Is people were taking photos with fake cameras. Did you see that?
Yeah, totally. It was like, hey, I want to take a photo. Like, okay, Jeff, let me smile.
Like large gatherings of people, like
Yeah, yeah.
20 people, and then we would do it, and then I would always be like, use my phone, use my fake phone, right? Like, it's like this constant play thing. And then it was funny. The next day we did this, and what is it? We were all by like these like stuffed animals that were getting shipped out, and someone was like, "Do you want us to take a real photo?" And all of us were like, "No." And part of it is because we want to remember it. We'll probably I'll remember that now because we chose not to,
Yeah.
rather than if we had captured it. Because how many photos do you have on your phone right now that you'll never look at again? But we're constantly trying to capture the moment rather than like be in the moment.
Mm. Oh, totally. I think that just the pull to the past or the future of the cell phone is constantly there, and pulling you away from whatever is here right
Yeah.
now. It could be your sensations, your emotions, the interaction you're having, but maybe even a possibility of playing or exploring that you hadn't even considered. One of the activities that was there was a nature walk. It turned out to not be a hike at all, which I thought was great. But it actually was, the exercise was to stare at the water for 10 minutes, and that was the invitation, and there was no cell phone. And just that, honestly, anyone who's, for all the one person that's watching this, I recommend going to sit by the water without a cell phone and just watching the shimmering and the changing textures and forms. And the invitation was just to think about how that the water, where it comes from, where it goes, how that connects to your life, while appreciating the beauty of it. And it was so beautiful. And it's the kind of thing that if you have a cell phone, you want to take a photo of the water, you're not going to have that moment necessarily, because you're going to be like, oh, the sparkles! I have the sparkles! And you're like, and then you're gonna Instagram live, be like, I'm at the lake. Oh my God, look at those colors. Oh, I love it. This is like a meta Instagram live. Can we do an
Oh my
Instagram
gosh,
live
dude.
in
I
our
thought
Instagram live?
I thought you were at the lake right then. You're like, here am I. Look at me.
Like,
Gotta get the
hi!
colors. You know me. I'm a lake person.
Like, guilty. I'm a lake person. You caught me again. It's like, follow me at lake person. It's like,
Let's go. That is okay. Okay. So, question for you. So, we're. I think they did a really phenomenal job this year of like grounding and kind of wrapping up the event. And we did this like almost half hour long like meditation in order to like come to a conclusion of what we were gonna like get to, right? Like what are we leaving with, right? What was it that came up for you?
yes. So that was a long ass meditation. It had like a lot of steps. It
I
was like,
loved it. I loved
it
it,
was
but also, yeah.
beautiful. I was lying down on the grass. I had like these like glow glasses on that make all the light shimmer.
Ooh, yeah.
My insight from that moment was, it was really around the being, and I think it
Yeah.
connects to what we're talking about the presence. And it was like, it was just returning to being and noticing, and that was like a theme throughout the weekend.
Mm.
It was what are the things that bring you away from just being. And when you actually are there, it's so powerful. It's so powerful what you can offer, just from your spark, your presence, your attention in that moment. So that was my takeaway. It was a real celebration of being, and I
Ooh.
wanted a real intention I brought forward from there as well. Yeah.
Ooh.
How about yourself? What came up for you?
Mine was there were two sentences. It came up to release expectations, right? Because that really,
I
yeah, yeah. Release expectations and savor the joy.
mm,
If I just simply did that with like my work, if I simply did that when I go on a vacation, if I simply did that with anything that I did, I would have so much more fun and I would be so much more present than because like I have so many stories or expectations of how something's gonna play out. And then of course when I have expectations, then they're the thief of joy. So then they take away all the joy that's actually happening. And I realized a lot of times, because don't get me wrong, there were times when like I felt insecure at camp, right? Even though like I'm like, as you said, prancing around. And there were times where like I go back to when I was like 13 years old and feeling super lonely and being like,
mm.
everyone knows everyone, but I don't know that group. And I'm like, I went back to 13 a few different times. And I think there's something beautiful about at that moment being like, all right, let me just be present with what's happening right now, and then just be cool with whatever's happening right now. Like I think one thing I don't do well is, or I don't do well enough is I'm not as present for my friends as I could be, right? Like right at that moment. Like I was even doing it with Momo as we got back, where I was like listening to her, but I was touching stuff on my phone, and she was just like, "Oh, he's doing it again! Like he's back to the." So
Doing the thing.
I gotta put down my phone, and I gotta like be fully there because that's really a gift to not only them, but mostly it's also a huge gift for me.
Mm. Oh yeah, I like that. It's a gift for everyone. I'm thinking of this. I forget the exact quote, but something along the lines of how like happiness is the present moment minus how you think it should be going. Uh, like
Wait,
like
wait, wait.
the,
Say that again. Wait.
it's like the present moment. The idea is happiness, and I would replace happiness with, a sense of contentment, fulfillment, connection. But it's the present
Yeah.
moment minus what you think should be happening. So it's like if you are just in the present moment and you take away the thought of, oh, it should be this or it should be that or this isn't how it's supposed to be going, then you're actually quite content, because even if you're upset, you're sad, or you're anxious, like, well, that's what's happening right now. And
Yeah.
I think
Wait, so can you say the sentence again? What is it? Happiness?
it's like the present moment
Yeah.
minus what you think it should be.
Oh, oh, oh. So
It's like,
of
ah,
course.
we're all,
Oh. No, because when you have like a big event like a wedding or something like big where you want it to go perfect, then there's so much that could be lost by it, right?
yeah,
But
exactly. And I think it's a beautiful invitation because it shows me how much our expectations are in the way of us actually just being with whatever's there. And like you said, like I think we're kind of touching on a few different things that get in the way, and one of them is the cell phone.
yeah.
One of them is so it's a cell phone. One of them is expectations, but there's a lot of them. There's a lot of the shadow sides that are there in terms of maybe fear. Maybe we're like a child self. We're like, oh, I'm not part of the
Mm-hmm.
group. Or like, I don't know anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's like the fear that's there. But I think when we were able to, like, I think Camp Reset helped us remove a lot of those and just get back. And not always, not all the time, it's not perfect, but having a few moments to just be like, we're here together. Yeah.
What do you feel like you can apply from it?
Yeah, that's a great question.
And
I
how
think
are
immediately, like,
and also how are you integrating back
yeah,
as well?
yeah.
What's
Also,
up,
welcome, Winter
Smith?
Arts.
What's up,
Hey,
Smith?
City Smith.
Let's go. He played the ping pong game. He played that around world ping pong game I talked about.
We were talking about the ping pong game. Yeah, yeah. We were talking about that. Welcome. In terms of what I would apply, I went to the ecstatic dance workshop. Incredible. There was an exercise, and I think it kind of embodies what an immediate takeaway. In addition to being conscious of cell phone use, making time for
Yeah.
play, like being really keeping that follow on an adventure kind of thing. But there's a physical thing that she did where it was basically, I still can put this phone here. The idea was that you had like this center here, and you would take, and you would like throw anything away from whatever was
Uh,
blocking here, and just kind of like with music and dancing, and it was incredible. It kind of, for me, it's like a huge metaphor of how when you're having that stuckness, when you're having that kind of like whatever those blockages are, you can just like take it and fling it like by like woo,
like,
and it's such a playful movement as well. You're not like, can you leave please? You're like bye. I'm taking. Yeah, exactly. How about you? What's a takeaway or the
well,
applicability?
yes, yes. That physical movement part, I think, is very huge for me. Where like I, embody that, or I like feel that. That's how I like kind of process. Um, well, there's many takeaways, but the one that now just came up because you brought up ecstatic dance is I in contact improv, right? So I don't know contact improv. I go in there and all of a sudden we're like, rolling on top of, bumping into people and speaking with your bodies. And it was, I think, the first time my body was like hitting up against someone else, not as a sport, not trying to compete, and also not like sexual, right? It's not like in that way, but but still intimate in a connection oriented, very platonic way that I was like, oh, this is super fascinating. That you almost have even better boundaries when you do something like this because you're not communicating through words, but
Mm-hmm.
you're still communicating, you know, like you're still communicating how you feel towards someone else without saying it with words, which is so weird and so fascinating. And my body was like not even like understanding like what are we doing here? Are we playing soccer? What are we doing? What's going on here? What's happening?
Is it
So
sex? Is it soccer? Is it a
yeah,
fight?
yeah.
And it's like
Yeah,
it's like this
is it
other.
fight, flight, or freeze? Like, what are we doing? Are we doing one of those things? And it's just like, no, we're good. We're just playing. You're like, what's that mean? So I think that was really fascinating to me, and it made me think more about how I connect with others. But then I think I mentioned this. I made this video yesterday about it. But so Nova Kid, T Money, and I drove home together, and we drove for 4 hours. It was like a long drive, dude. So we talked about people, right? And usually when you talk about people, like you just want to talk shit. Like you just want to be like, oh, that person and that person. We spent 3 of those hours talking about how amazing different people were and why they were so amazing. Like we were just giving flowers to different people and being like, "Oh, you spoke to Misfits? She is amazing, and here are the reasons why." Right? Or this is. I was speaking with. What was it? I think Nova Kid was just like, I was speaking to Momo and Egg, and we had all these epiphanies about this. You know, we're like, Goons is freaking amazing, or Curious. I love hanging out with Curious. Here's the reasons why I love Curious. And then we would all go through. It was so interesting because I don't think I've ever done that for that long period of time. And then after we did all that, Nova Kid gave this really good suggestion where it was just like, all right, we've talked about everyone else. We've given love to everyone else. Time to give it to each other.
Whoa! I
Whoa!
was like,
Three, what? Three cisgender straight men giving love to one another. What?
how dare you?
How unbelievable. And it was funny because like Nova Kid obviously suggests it, right? And then he doesn't want it for himself because he's like, no, I love giving the love, but but each of us, dude, when we each of us shared, it was so humbling for the other person because we were saying things that we saw in each other, and we were modeling what the way in which the collective had thanked each other the night before, right?
Yeah.
Without us even realizing it. And that was freaking cool. And each of us got a little teary. We got a little teary, man. We got a little, got a little emotional, and we would have not, I don't think we would have even begun, because on the way up we talked about like anime and Naruto and like sports and all the like the manly things. On the way back, we were talking in such a deeper level because the collective had done such a great job. Camp Reset has done such a great job to like create the vulnerability in the play that we could go that deep. So that was just a fascinating experiment on the way home.
That sounds like you just like, what a beautiful moment of male intimacy.
Yeah.
And I like how you compared it to before the ride up, where it's like Naruto, like got to the mega, and then afterwards the way back being like, and the way back being like, hey, like fellow brother, like let me tell you why I love you, or let me tell you like how I connect with you. And I also, you kind of, you invented this thing of like reverse gossip. It makes me, I think it's a really great idea. The moment you're with friends, like, hey, have you like heard of so and so, like what up? And then you'd be like, hey everyone, ding. What if we did some reverse gossip? It's where you say things you love about other people, and like just like what an energy shift to be like moving away from all the things that you hate, all the things that some people did wrong, and be like, who do you love? Like, who's amazing? Who's impressing you? And it's such an energetic shift. I'm totally. I mean, we need to coin this.
No,
you can copyright this and sell this.
I'm gonna quote you.
Sell it. Get some money for
Reverse gossip. We're reverse gossiping from now on.
Yeah,
because you get so much more energy, right? You get so much more. You're more motivated to meet people rather than going down the slide of cynicism and just being, because then you start, right? It's pattern recognition. It's just positive psychology stuff where you're, if I talk about how amazing so many people are, the next person I meet, I'm probably going to look for something amazing, right, in them.
Right, it's training your mind. I'm liking, the written wand saying, I'm in. Come join us on our gossip revolution.
Okay, that's what we're doing. The reverse gossip movement is happening. It started here because of you. Because of you.
I mean, it's us here. But I think you're right. It brings in the next time you meet someone, instead of being like, how can I judge you? How can we disconnect, and how can I? There's this fun thing about gossip. There's this idea that when you are gossiping about someone else with someone, the idea is that, well, you clearly gossip about that person then as well. Like, meaning if you gossip once, you're probably someone who likes to gossip.
Yes.
So I mean, it's quite a practice, and I think gossip does have like a social utility in terms of connection, but I think it comes at a cost as well. And the cost is that negative energy, that sort of that like pushing down, that judgment. But I love this thing. I'm just being like, what did you like? What did you connect with?
Okay, so then I have an idea as we're wrapping up. Then let's practice reverse gossip with each other.
Whoa!
When we said love, we said flowers to each other. So I'm gonna talk about what is so awesome about you. Okay, so what I appreciated about you, coming is the fact that you, even though you came late, you dove right in. I know how hard it is to come in on a Friday and just be like, there's no, well, they did have one, but there's no quick integration, and you really have to like be all in for the play. So the fact that you just did that, the fact that anytime I saw you, you were fully immersed in whatever you were doing, you were fully in the play, that I had mad respect for that. And I also just love the fact that you're just like so damn open to like experimentation, which most people are not. Most people are not willing to try things they've never done before, and also be collaborative. Because even outside of this, you collaborated with a friend of mine, Khan, doing some really cool experimental play stuff that actually had massive impact on people. So I'm so happy that you were there, because I was like, I'm trying to explain this to other play people, but like you got to see it firsthand because you were willing to take the risk. You were willing to drive from Quebec or wherever you drove from in order to make it happen. And I was so happy when I saw that blue hat and you just walking up to the basketball hoop and being like, this person is down to actually be fully present and play. So I thank you so much for being there. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much. So that's totally how I aspire to be, being present, playful. And I've definitely never been on Instagram Live exchanging compliments. So I love I love that. This is new for me. Hello, hello. Hello. I see some friends here as well. And I would say for you, Jeff, like one of my favorite moments was when you watching you like dance on the stage to Beyonce, and like so fully just I felt like you just like owned like you owned it. Like you weren't like, and like there was like other people that were dancing Beyonce in their own way, and like you were like in your body having fun. People were like watching, cheering you on. Um, Anyways, and for me that was just like such a representation of how you were that whole weekend, of showing up, diving in, being present, and I think just really role modeling. I think you're in this community. You're at a space of you're not like, hey, like play people, where are you? You're more like you're a leader in this community. And I think you were a leader in that space, and I definitely noticed that in your physicality, in your presence, in your jokiness, like in your actually like the unabashed shamelessness and just enjoyment. So go you, keep like being a shining star in this space. And yeah, thank you for this invitation to this live, the first live I've ever done, maybe the last. We'll see where it goes. All
We're all doing new things. Look at us, we're playing, we're doing new things.
yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Ez. I appreciate you.
Nice.
Love you,
Thank you
man.
so much. Take care. Take
See ya.
care. Cheers. Bye bye.